I'm Sarah Criser Elwell. I graduated in 2009 with a Bachelor of Science in Public Relations and a minor in Spanish from the College of Journalism and Communications. So it's kind of not been the most direct of career paths. I started out in a fellowship with the governor's office here in Florida, working for the Agency for Workforce Innovation, which is now a part of the Department of Economic Opportunity. I was working on unemployment and early learning legislation and communications. And through that, actually got involved in a few political campaigns and ran communications on those, and then worked on the official side as the Deputy Press Secretary for the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services before moving to DC, where I could serve as Communications Director for a number of members of Congress. And then after that, I actually moved to South Florida and worked for a PR firm for a few years before my current role, where I'm now the CEO of a nonprofit organization that brings in national and international leaders to speak to the area's business people in an effort to stimulate thought and promote dialogue. I actually started as an English major thinking that I wanted to go to law school. And my sophomore year, I realized that practicing law was probably not what I actually wanted to do. And so I utilized the advisors in the Honors College and went to one of them and said, what should I do? Because practicing law and being a lawyer is just not what I want to do with my life. And so she actually was the one that recommended public relations. I looked at her and I was like, I don't even know what public relations is, but let's do it, sounds great. And as a result of that, I've been opened up to a world of possibilities and opportunities, both in business, in the government sector, in event planning. It's not just communicating through the press and the media, but it's skill sets that you can use in day-to-day life and operations in a way that, I didn't even know what the major entailed when I selected it. But we also have one of the top PR colleges in the nation. And I think that's one of the things too that's incredible to highlight. I think back even when I was selecting what school to go to, and we all know the reputation of the University of Florida. We love the community and the environment that it provides. But while we nationally rank overall, we have a number of colleges here that are top as well. One of the great things about the University of Florida is there are a lot of options. And so if you get into a field of study and you find that maybe this isn't exactly what you thought it might be or didn't pan out the way that you wanted it to, you have the resources and the opportunities here to make pivots and to really chart your own path. It doesn't have to be as direct as, here's what I'm enrolling in as a senior in high school, this is what I'm gonna study, and this is who I'm gonna be, the rest of my life. What skills are needed to be successful in my career? I think from a communications perspective and career path, I think there's twofold. There's the internal communications with staff and management, being empathetic, realizing that at the end of the day, we're all humans, and understanding that we all go through seasons of life, and sometimes we just need to have grace with one another, and that there's challenges that we may not always be privy to from a human internal basis, and figuring out how to navigate those and help people, and kind of understand that at times that may mean that you're taking on things that are not in your job description or in your wheelhouse, but that we all need to extend that to others, because there's times that we're going to be going through those as well, and we'd hope to have that same grace extended to us. I think from a more hard skill career path, if you will, thinking about things in creative ways. There's not one solution to every problem. And sometimes you may have to try multiple solutions. You may have to think on your feet. You may have to pivot. You may have to bring in partners. Don't be afraid to collaborate. I think sometimes we think, oh, we have to do it this way. It has to be ours. There's some sort of ownership. We all don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think any way that you can collaborate and get community buy-in and more partners at the table, the more successful you'll be. For anyone that is considering exploring a career in business, public service, and tourism, I highly recommend it. I think that there's a number of avenues that you can take within that industry. And so it's kind of like my experience at the University of Florida, where there's no one direct path or right answer. You can explore various aspects of that at different times in your life. And some of those may make more sense during certain stages or ages. I know in my 20s, public service was wonderful. I mean, I loved the energy that the government provided and being able to play a role in the legislation and the policies that our state and our nation were putting forward. As I've moved into having a family and my own personal life has evolved, I think that maybe being more in the business side of things, where I have a little bit more flexibility and some control over maybe what my day-to-day life looks a little bit more, makes more sense. But I think that's one thing that I just hope that students keep in mind, is that once you chart a career path, it's not that you can't change or pivot or evolve within that industry. And because there's so many overlapping skills between business, tourism, and public service, you can easily navigate between those three.